Shalom. Coram Lee Anthony, Baruch Haba. Hello and welcome to Sarid. My name is Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have not already, please subscribe. Here at Sarid, we always like to begin by giving all praise, honor, and esteem to Yahuwah Elohim and to his Ben Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach, who accompanies us on this journey. So thankful for him. Also want to thank all of you for your comments and for your support. This is an edut, and if you are joining us for the first time, I recommend that you go back and watch the first couple of videos to help you understand what an edut is, how it is to operate. In this part of the edut, we will look at the covenant, the Berit, reviewed in the land of Moab. Yahuwah has drawn it up and gives some warning instructions. Here in our time, amid the protests still going on in the overwhelming majority of our nation's streets and worldwide, there is a growing outcry for a change in leadership positions here and abroad. And that is no different here in the story of a star, as negotiations are taking place behind closed doors now to try to change a few things in the policies. Mordecai has convinced the star to try to do something to get Haman out of office. Religion has got to go. So a star is trying to figure out something. You know, the turtle dove is trying to show the love, and if she does it right, could prove to be fatal to religion. Let's find out how that works out. In this part of the edut, we come to section 10, the covenant renewed in Moab. Elohim begins to give a summary of everything that has been covered. And we will be looking at Devarim chapter 29, verse 1, as it lines up with the star, chapter 5, verse 6. And Elohim declares, "These are the words of the Berit, which Yahuwah commanded Moshe to make with Bnei Yisrael in the land of Moab." The words of the Berit. The Berit, H1295, is a covenant. It is an allegiance or a pledge between two parties. We have them here on the screen. It could be man to man, Elohim to man, for friends or marriages of allegiance. The verb means to consume, to eat, food for thought, covenant vows. In the sense of cutting, it brings us to another verb associated with it, a bara, H1254. It means to create, shape, or form, to fashion something. Covenant causes a person to perform a certain way. And this particular verb is always used with Elohim as the subject, creating new conditions, circumstances, transformations, doing something new, including miracles. You do your part, and he will certainly do his. These are the words of the Berit which Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Moshe's name means drawn. Here the mark of the accusative is on Moshe, those who are drawn to this truth. The mark of the accusative is there, drawn. What does it mean to draw? To draw means to produce an image of something, to trace and produce a picture of someone or something, drawn. These are the words of the Berit which Yahuwah commanded, drawn up. Drawn, a picture of who the children of Yisrael really are. this is how they are to be identified. It will be by the things that happen to them according to this covenant, this berit. They are not going to be wealthy and ruling anything. They will be slaves and descendants of that. To make with B'nai Yisrael. The mark of the accusative is there on B'nai, the understanding of everlasting life, to make with those children. This is to usher in a new age where righteousness reigns for 1,000 years. The children, B'nai, age 11, 21, are sons, members of a group, male and female, of a special order or class of exiles. In this case, the tribe of Yehudah. The verb banah means to rebuild and cause to continue on a permanent basis. This knowledge will not be lost again, neither will this idut. The verb is figuratively used of restored and established exiles made permanent. And what is to be rebuilt is the everlasting life according to Elohim prevailing, which is the meaning of Yisrael here in the survey line. The children of Yisrael. The term God will no longer be used, nor heard from your mouth if you want to be saved. Or the term Allah, lest I offend anybody by leaving them out. Islam. Elohim for everybody, or the judgment is going to be harsh. Yahuwah also executed this judgment on religion in the land of Mitzrayim in double straits as well. Exodus, or Shemot chapter 12, verse 12, he does it there. And several times in Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 14. You can write those down and go back and check them out when you get a chance. You know, in the land of Moab, of their father. Talking about them. So we're talking about their father. Whatever foreign land you are in, whatever folklore that your forefathers have lied to you about, and they have all lied concerning everlasting life and salvation. You know, it is to be reestablished according to this truth found in the Ibrit. The one from beyond is the meaning of Ibrit. That would be Yahuwah Elohim. He is the one from beyond. The picture has been drawn. And the Berit, or the covenant, is the image. It is the image here of Moab. Of his father, the father's mother. Moab was the son of Lot by his oldest daughter and progenitor of the people of Moab. The message here is the children of Israel were not in their own land when they received this berit, this covenant that I'm giving you now. And so they will not be in their own land, the land of Israel, when it is renewed by Eloah. It's going to be renewed in the wilderness. In this case, they were in exile in the land of Paras, the Persians, Media and Paras, to enact all the words here that I am giving you now as a witness, so that the scripture of truth can be fulfilled. Therefore, these words are being fulfilled in Paras, the land of Medo-Persia, that is current day Iran, a nation that is currently under sanctions by the United States. The United States is the site of today's descendants of the tribe of Yehudah, according to blood and not belief. And just like then, they have run into a problem identifying with the script now. And this is why Yahuwah Elohim had it drawn up. Moshe's name here is in the survey line, so that anyone that has a problem with who is and who is not the true people of the scripture of truth, this blueprint drawn up by Yahuwah Elohim is to clear up any confusion in the land of Moab. Moab also was located east of the Dead Sea in what is now west central Jordan. It was bound by Edom and Ammon. The people of Moab were closely related to Yisrael, and the two were frequently in conflict, much like it is today. Now here's how the words of the Berit, the covenant, played out in the witness of a star. It was at the banquet of wine. The king said to a star, "What is your petition? It shall be granted to you." What is your petition? It shall be granted to you. It was at this banquet. This is still the time of the grape harvest, and the wine, or the mishta, is here at the banquet. And of course, the pigeon for the sin offering, for those who have followed from the last video. Pigeon for the sin offering. At the banquet of wine, the king here, for an understanding of how powerful this is, Melech, I want to go to Hebrews chapter 6, verse 17 through 20 to set the stage here. And this is what it reads in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 17 through 20. You don't have to turn there. I'm going to read it. It declares, "In this way, Elohim, determining to show more abundantly to the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, it does not change, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for Elohim to lie." Those two things. We have strong encouragement, we who have fled for refuge, to lay hold of the expectation set before us, which we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which enters the presence behind the veil. This idut was behind the veil, where the forerunners has entered for us, even Yahushua, having become Kohen Hagadol forever according to the order of Melchizedek. This is the tail of the Lamb as well. It is the oath of the covenant here in the survey line. He said, "What is your petition?" Se'aleti. It is a solemn and humble appeal, carefully asked to a figure of authority. Just some thought went into this thing, and the word declares, "It shall be granted to you." And here is the reference to the covenant. That word for granted there was H54:14. It was Nathan. Nathan means to give, to put or set something up in order to be given or bestowed. It is the same word in the Berit, the covenant that he gave right before he gave the assignment of this idut. It takes us right back to the beginning of the very first video that started the idut, found in Deuteronomy chapter 27. And the promises there contain this word for Nathan. It was set. So we go there now and we look at it. It's found in Deuteronomy chapter 26. Deuteronomy chapter 26, I'll be reading 16 through 19. Deuteronomy chapter 26, 16 through 19. These are the words. "This day, Yahuwah Elohecha commands you to observe these et kukim." The mark of the accusative is on the kukim. "And et mishpatim." The mark of the accusative is on there. "Therefore you shall be careful to observe Otham, the mark of the accusative, is on them with all your heart and with all your soul. Today you have proclaimed. Here Yahuwah sets the mark of the accusative on himself. This is a contract situation. They get the mark, he get the mark. It is everlasting life. Yahuwah to be your Elohim, and that you will walk in his ways and keep his kukwa, his miswatiwa, and his mishpatiwa, the judgments, that you will obey his voice. Also today, Yahuwah has proclaimed you to be his special people, just as he promised you that you should keep all his mitzvatiwa, the commandments, and that he will set, here is the word, set Nathan there in the survey line, he will set you high above all nations, which he has made in praise, in name, and in honor, and that you may be a kadosh people to Yahuwah Elohecha, just as he has spoken. This is what he meant when he said, it shall be granted to you. It shall be set up for you. You can't lose. He told Adonai Yahushua to set up stones for yourselves. This is a setup. You know, they went into the land of Madai and Perez to execute it, and I've come back here now to bear that witness. It shall be granted to you. And over in Devarim, it declares, besides the Berit, which he made with them in Horeb. Horeb. That word there, H2722, was a desert. Another name for Mount Sinai, from which Elohim gave the Torah to Moshe and Yisrael. The verb H2717 means to be waste, to lay waste and make desolate. To be desolate and be in ruins, which is what has occurred since the Goi, or the Gentiles, have come to take charge of everything. Everything is laid in ruins. It's desolate. You know, so we have to go there to see the Berit that is found in Shemot. There's another one in Shemot, Exodus chapter 19, verse 3 through 6. Also found in the first video. Shemot, Exodus chapter 19, 3 through 6. Turn with me now. We're going to read that one as well. So there was two of them. And we've gone through them all. In verse 3, it declares, and Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called to him from the mountain, saying, this you shall say to the house of Yaakov, and tell Bnei Yisrael. That's what he declared. And he says, you have seen what I did to Mitzrayim, the double straits, back in them times, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my beriti, the covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people. For all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of Kohanim and a Kadosh nation. Here is the reference. He is giving up half the kingdom. He's giving up half the kingdom. These are the words, Hadebarim, which you shall speak to Bnei Yisrael. So the word authenticates itself yet again so that you might believe. You know, for this word is not to be taken lightly. He is watching over this to ensure that it is done. And here is how the witness of a star records it. And she declares, it declares, what is your request up to half the kingdom? There it is. It is the word that we just read in the covenant. You shall be to me a king, a kingdom of Kohanim and a Kadosh nation. He had half of it right there. You know, the request. The word there, the mark of the accusative was on the request. Et begashati. It was a petition. The verb means to desire and secure an exact request. You know, up to half the kingdom. That's what was on the table. You know, and he declares, it shall be done. It shall be done. So now we look at how the word of Yahuwah brings an exclamation point to the climax of the fulfillment of all the covenant from the beginning of the testimony to this point. He's declaring that the testimony is done right there. Shall be done. The very first video up to this point has foretold the events of the crises of 2020, those double straights in detail. Surprisingly enough, those two readings are referred to in the survey lines. Those two covenants there. It is done. You know, all the words fulfilled concerning the covenant from Devarim 27 to Devarim chapter 28, verse 68. You lived it. Just as the king said, it shall be done. Moreover, it is finished, done. It closes the covenant. You know, the very next line in the survey. Now, how powerful is that? And that Yahuwah took the time to do that. Now, if that doesn't get your attention and speak as though from something beyond this world order and cause you to put your trust in the vows of Yahuwah Elohim and receive his ben Adonai Yahushua, then you are invited to drink the cup of wrath, poured out full strength that is to follow in the days after this edut is completed. So no one, you know, you should consider your ways wisely. After all, death is all around us now and has changed our whole world. Whole world now is under siege. That is to say, affected by the crises in some way. Covenant is done, not the story. Neither should anyone forget Purim, the start of this crisis that we are instructed to watch out for in 2021. And the videos concerning Shavuot, for those of you who missed it, this was in the survey lines. It should be done. And this too is a tale of the Lamb. Devarim 29, verses 2 and 3, and Astar chapter 5 will line up verses 7 and 8. Now Moshe called all Yisrael and said to them, you have seen all that Yahuwah did before your eyes. The mark of the accusative is there on all that and on you. Have seen. Then Astar answered and said, my petition and request is this: if I have found favor in the sight of the king. The petition, the humble and carefully asked question to a position, to a figure of authority. The mark of the accusative is on the way the request is asked. She's on a recon mission to figure out a few things. Humble and solemnity. Formal and dignified, not cheerful or smiling. Serious, characterized by deep sincerity. That's the petition there. The request, the mark of the accusative, is also there. Et begashati, the petition. The verb means to desire and seek something. She's serious. To ask in order to secure an exact request. What is it? Something carefully asked, an exact request. The mark of the accusative was on both those words there. And in Devarim, it declares, in the land of Mitzrayim, in the land of double straits. The double straits there was the two world powers, Madai and Peres, which is what Mitzrayim represents here in those lands. If I have found favor in the sight of the king in the land, in those lands, in the land of Mitzrayim, the land of double straits. And the word of Yahuwah and the star declares, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition and request. The mark of the accusative is there on both the petition and the request to fulfill those things. And over in Devarim, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. To Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. Pharaoh. Pharaoh means great house. It was the common title for the king of Mitzrayim, the great house. The king of the double straits, or more recently, the president of the White House. You know, that house right there. But in this case, it was Shushan the Byra. So some people are getting ready for a war as if this virus is not enough, but they will be fighting a losing battle if they do not understand this prophetic time in history, because the line in the survey says this is to Pharaoh and all his land. Pharaoh and all his land. All his servants and all his land. And the star declares, then let the king and Haman come to the banquet, which I have prepared for them. The banquet, the mishta, figuratively used of drinking the cup of Elohim's wrath, or a slaughter of wicked deeds. The banquet that is being prepared for them. This is what is being prepared. The great trials which your eyes have seen, the signs and those great wonders. It's what's being prepared here. It's a setup. It's a setup. The trials there, H4531 was Masah. It means despair. Testing and proving. A trial. The verb means to test or try to put to the test. Now we know what happened when Pharaoh did not let the people go. There was some trial and error going on, and according to the script in the story, there were about 10 trials that the Pharaoh failed. The last one was the death of the firstborn. And there was a great cry in Mizraim, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. Those trials, which your eyes have seen, iron, is used of the eye as showing mental qualities and used figuratively of mental and spiritual faculties. Ra'ah means to look at and learn about. Our eyes have seen all of the stories in the scripture. Certainly have seen and known those, or read about it and heard about it in some way. Your eyes have seen that. The signs. H226 was a signal, a distinguishing mark for remembrance, an omen or a warning, something miraculous, a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be a supernatural work, a sign. The verb is used in the sense of appearing to consent and agree. So something's going to be remembered, and the king, he's going to consent and agree. However, here in our time, this could play out another way, a sign. This idut is a sign. Who knew this? One thing for sure is this. Yahuwah did say in Shemot, in Exodus chapter 8, verse 23, you don't have to turn there, I'm going to read it. He said, I will make a difference between my people and your people. People who you think are the tribe of Yehuda, and the one that I am saying is the tribe of Yehuda. Yahuwah is going to make a difference there. He said, tomorrow this sign shall be, a future time. And the word declares in Shemot chapter 8, he said, and there were thick swarms of flies in the house of Pharaoh, his servants, and the land of Mizraim. And the land was corrupted because of the flies. So, sure enough sign there. And those wonders, Mofet, it is a portent, a sign and a portent. H4159, a sign or warning that something especially momentous and calamitous is likely to happen. A wonder, a special display of Elohim's power is in the definition there. A token of a future event. The verb means to beautify or be bright. It's going to work out well for the true and chosen people, and it's going to stand out. And this will happen according to the survey line in a star, which declares, and tomorrow I will do as the king has said. Tomorrow, H4279, Makar, tomorrow as in the day following the present day. In a time to come, in a future time. The root means to keep back, to cause one to delay and remain behind. This is a special thing that he's holding back that's coming tomorrow. So this is going to happen here again soon. Something that has remained behind until now. So good, get ready. Tomorrow I will do as the king has said. So here is something else she found out in this recon mission. How to maximize potential. She's making them wonder or wonder what could this possibly be. This is powerfully attractive now. She's making them wonder what could this possibly be. This is somewhat seductive, tempting and attractive. She's making them wait, which makes them want to do whatever she wants them to do all the more attractive. So that whatever is done with the full force driven by emotion. Powerful. You might say she's figured something else out. Somebody in trouble. Devarim 29, verses 4 and 5 will line up with the star, chapter 5, verse 9. Yet Yahuwah has not given you a heart to perceive. The word for perceive there was yadad. It means to have knowledge, to be wise and to know something. And thus it is written in Yeshayahu chapter 64:4, for since the beginning of the world, men have not heard nor perceived by the ear, nor has the eye seen any Elohim besides you who acts for the one who waits for him. Has not given you a heart to perceive. So Haman went out that day joyful and with a glad heart. Joyful and with a glad heart. Haman, the word there for Haman, it means magnificence. He represents religion, that magnificence. His letters are doctrines that seek to destroy the tribe of Yehudah, the ones chosen to go first into battle by Yahuwah. They bear his name. All world religions participate in destroying all the tribe of Yahudah by either not recognizing the name or lifting up some alternatives. Now, all religions do this, but there is a particular one that closely associates with it, as it has been pointed out in prior videos, and it is the Orthodox Jewish doctrine. Haman went out that day joyful and with a glad heart. Although the word of Yahuwah says the heart he had not given him a heart to perceive, he is glad. He doesn't have a clue what is going on. Yahuwah is speaking about him as well in the survey line above, where he declares he has not given you a heart to perceive. He just left that meeting and he doesn't know it yet, but he's the main course, as well as the people who were receiving this understanding from Moshe. They could not comprehend at that particular time in the wilderness what was being given by Moshe. They did not understand that he was talking about a future event that just happens to be applied to Haman as well. And eyes to see and ears to hear to this very day. So this echoes the cry from Yeshayahu chapter 64, to this very day. They thought, like so many others, that this covenant, this berit, was just a warning for the people, something given by them, given to them by Yahuwah to see and hear in order to discourage them from disobeying his word, to help guide them in some form of righteousness. They had no clue that every word of the berit, the covenant, that Yahuwah gave to Moshe to be drawn up, was spoken by Yahuwah Elohim and written by Moshe for them to see and hear what is to be executed, performed, carried out, and enacted by those people and their descendants in a future time in its entirety, completed and recorded in a book called a star, according to the letter. They had no clue what Yahuwah was up to and why he kept the writings inside of the Aron behind the veil. The Ark of the Covenant, he kept this inside that behind the veil. No one was privy to what was truly going on except Adonai Yahushua, who prevailed as the Lamb of Elohim. And it is he who accompanies us on this journey. No religious doctrine in history has this knowledge. Like the word said, to this day. No Jewish scribe or scholar has this information to this very day. If you ask any one of them about these last 5 chapters in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 27 through 31, they will all tell you the same thing. It was finished when it was written. And they will tell you that to this very day. Just go ask them. Everything that I'm giving you here now behind the veil of a thumbnail, which they will not click on to try to find out what's going on behind the veil, is surveyed and lined up according to the prescribed manner identified in the book of Yeshayahu, chapter 10. It is on the opening screen of every video released by Sari. This is a treasure of great price. And if one were to have it, then certainly it would have been made known by now. It has showed up to identify the seed and usher in the greatest pandemic the world has known, and to begin a time of tribulation that has already started in order to bring in everlasting righteousness. They didn't understand it. But Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, and that he did not stand. Mordecai has an understanding of everlasting life. The mark of the accusative is on his name now. He's inside the king's gate. Mark of the accusative is on his name. He has an understanding of everlasting life that is not of this world order. They don't believe the things that Mordecai is telling them. They are based on truth. They are based on truth that we have shown was directed by the word of Yahuwah in prior parts of this edut, this testimony. A little man or worshiper of Mars is the understanding on the defining of his name. You know, his worship was not of this world order. He was in the king's gate. He was in the king's gate. That is to say, in the king's reasoning and understanding. Mordecai was practicing truth. And religion was and is a practice of spiritual lies, all of them. It is something that man made up. The scripture of truth is where they got their ideas or ideology for their religion. The religious world order does not practice the truth of scripture. And so I really would wish people would stop asking me what religion I practice, because I do not practice religion. What I do is just not of this world order. Most people do not understand spiritual truth. Tell them over and over again, they just seem to think everything is symbolic now. You know, but Mordecai, he did not stand for it. He did not stand. Now that's just disrespect. And he did the right thing. Money ain't everything. Haman had plenty of that sitting at the king's table. He just left that meeting with a star. Sitting there collecting your tithes and your tzedakah offerings. You know, Mordecai didn't stand for it. And since Mordecai's name comes up in the survey now, Yahuwah begins to deal with him because the mark of the accusative is on him. And he says, and I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. In the wilderness. The word there for wilderness, H4057, was Midbar. There's a book named after it, the Midbar in the wilderness. Most know it as Numbers. It means wilderness or pasture around cities, on the outside looking in. It also means mouth, as in organ of speech. The root is the bar, H 1696, in the sense of driving to speak or declare, warn, and threaten of a promise spoken. The voice of one crying in the wilderness means to lead away and put to flight. It is Mordecai's words that got a star motivated to move on behalf of the people now. So Yahuwah is leading him to this type of thing. 40 years in the wilderness. That word there for 40 identifies with some very Kodesh things with regards to the mitzvah and the things on that. And a star declares that he did not even tremble before him. He showed no fear of world religion. It is recorded that because he did not do this, he did not bow down and pay homage, it is Haman wrote those letters. That's the reason why he wrote them, because Mordecai would not bow down and pay homage to Haman. And Yahuwah declares, he says, your clothes have not worn out on you, and your sandals have not worn out on your foot. Yahuwah watched over him. The word for clothes there was salmah, the garments. He had on the same clothes, probably wearing them for years. Every time you see him, he got on the same thing. Had not worn on you, nor your sandals have not worn out on your feet. That word there, feet, was regal, and it means the foot. The verb regal means to go about on foot, to spy out as an explorer and be a talebearer, to teach and walk. Part of the tale of the Lamb is the witness. So Mordecai has been walking around for years witnessing about the Lamb. Mordecai found something in the scriptures, told the star, and sparked something in her to set up this meeting that Haman now is leaving, this banquet or this mishta. It's because of him and his witness. And a star declares when he saw him, he was filled with indignation against Mordecai, against some things Mordecai did not stand for. Indignation there, it's simply in the definition, it means heat, rage, and displeasure, anger, wrath, poison. Figuratively used of venom poison. Venom poison, as if regular poison is not enough, serpent begins to come out now. Venom poison, a bunch of snakes walking and talking among us. We're right back in the garden now, so we have to watch out for religion. Toda Rabbah, thank you so much for watching with us here at Sari as we await the coming of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach and try to avoid another case of mistaken identity. Join us next time as we look at part 2 of the Berit given in the land of Moab. Lehitraot. See you later.